Welcome to Immediate Review and a very special episode where we just saw Ari Aster's Midsommar.
The director's cut.
The director's cut, yes. Forgot to mention that. That's important. That's important. You probably saw the title.
We are joined by person A.
Person A off screen. So, this was my first viewing of the director's cut.
Yep. So, spoilers, by the way. Go watch the theatrical if you haven't seen the director's cut.
So, the director's cut. I dug it. I thought that it gave a bunch of extra added context to a bunch of different scenes that I thought were because they did clever editing where they would cut and add things that you could insinuate was a catalyst to an event that you're like, okay, this kind of makes sense, but they just add in, other scenes and just extend some scenes and just kind of give a little bit more context and, just depth to the community and kind of what's going on with our main group of characters.
Hell yeah.
And, I appreciated it.
I mean, the additional scenes make everybody except for Danny seem more douchey.
Even Josh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his whole thing about the Nazis and all that.
Well, he's just studying the language.
Yeah, but it's a little.
He's an academic and he's researching for the Midsommar, because the guy even said he likes to.
Also, because he's like low-key douchey about him dumping her in the beginning.
Oh, okay. In the beginning,
and then there's the whole car ride sequence. He's not the most overtly douchey.
It's definitely present that he cares more about academics than empathy or
relationships.
Fair point.
But he's contrasted so well by Christian that it's
you're relatively
you're like that guy's that
guy
that guy's the douche,
Well, and Mark is also a pretty big tool too, but he's a funny tool, so you don't mind.
He is.
I think he's Ari Aster's persona. And I really he kept
we're getting off track into specifics, but overall, director's cut.
Especially the addition of the there's a specific scene that I think adds.
We'll go over all of them.
A shit ton of context that is really important that I wish would have made it into the theatrical, which is the additional ritual and the following, the conversation that Danny has with Christian following.
That's the main one I was talking about too.
Mm-hmm. Super important.
Yeah, I think the director's cut is just way more immersive. You just, especially seeing it in theaters, you just feel like you are really, going
Sitting
to this
in a car
festival.
for 4 hours.
Yeah, the added scene in the car. I don't know. It's just it extends scenes that are already there and adds a lot of good scenes that provide context, and I just think it's more of an immersive journey through the Midsommar Festival.
Oh yeah.
Where the theatrical cut, I know it's 2 hours and 20 minutes, but it honestly flew by for me last time I watched it.
It jumps to it, man. It's once the dancing ceremony starts, you're getting fast tracked to the ending, man. Yeah. It's so and this one adds more after the fire starts and everything like that. It all just feels just more you're just more present, I think, in they have way more time to just build scenes, and some of the scenes that seem slow, the movie's longer, so it seems like it's even slower, and it just kind of adds to this this looming dread that you're watching.
Yep.
Especially after seeing, I haven't seen the director's cut before, but I've definitely seen Midsommar before, and watching it for the second time is there's so much more tension and building, and you just, because exactly what's going to happen and what all the little references are. And yeah, it's just it's great. It's a great movie.
I agree. I also like you said, it just kind of gets into the action in the theatrical cut. There's a lot more positive interactions that the group has with the festival, and they're kind of more, trying to get involved, and they ask questions and find out more information. And where, in the theatrical cut, they're just kind of shuffled along from scene to scene, and really the only positive thing they do is take drugs. Other than that, right from the get-go, everything just seems off. But in this one, there are just a lot more little pleasant moments sprinkled.
And even then,
sprinkled
the
about.
drugs are only pleasant for some of them.
Oh yeah, it's true. But yeah, so you guys want to go over all the major scenes? I wrote them down.
Yeah, sure.
So the first extended scene is it actually shows Christian asking Danny, and their fight is longer, and it further shows how manipulative he is.
And what a douchebag he is.
So yeah, I think that in the grand scope of the movie, I think my least favorite part is Christian, and not in the sense that he's a bad actor. I think his character is just very very one dimensional, and his actor like presents that really well. Like he's literally just like fucking one-dimensional douche.
He manipulates every scene.
Yeah,
he's
every
in.
scene.
Just,
any situation that he's in where it's like you could behave like a normal person, he's like, oh no, I'm gonna do something controlling and like weird. And so I definitely I just don't like him being on screen as like just experiencing his character.
I mean, that's
good.
good.
At the end, it's
the
satisfying.
Umbridge situation, you know. It's like I love, you know, Goblet of Fire, but like Umbridge fucking sucks. But she's an amazing actress. But it's because she's amazing that why the character sucks. But you know, it's that situation. So it has no like negative impact on the movie at all. And yeah, the director's cut just really just pushes it to another gear. You know, if the theatrical was in gear 4, like this is in gear 6. You know, they just like go full douchebag mode. And yeah, he's just, you know, so fucking just kiss assy and fucking just, you just want to slap the fucking
throwing other people under the bus.
Yeah, exactly. Just such a piece of shit. Like I hate him.
So the next scene is we get a longer car ride to the Midsommar festival. In the theatrical version, she's like, how long till we get there? 4 hours. And then it basically cuts to they're there. And this one we get a montage, and yeah, it just kind of...
You get to find out about Nazi runes.
Yeah, that's where that...
they talk about what Mark is like, oh, why are the babes so much hotter here? Like
that one's in the theatrical cut. That one part is in it. Yeah, okay, so I guess they don't directly
they established just like some more character stuff.
Yeah. So...
And yeah, I really liked the car ride. It's, you know, kind of... I don't know. It's just more. It just has more atmospheric notes. Like instead of just, you know, like hard cut to whatever. It's you know, it just gives you like it just a little bit more. Like yeah, you're, you know, because like a good shot, like an amazing shot, is when she has a panic attack, and I can't remember. It's one of their apartments, and she has a panic attack when Mark talks to her about her parents, and she like goes to the bathroom, and they have this transition shot where it's like house and goes into the airport bathroom when she closes the door. It's an amazing fucking shot.
Oh yeah.
But that's a perfect example of like cutting to, you know, like just getting to.
Oh, I'm not saying it's a problem or a flaw.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I appreciate that they decided to.
It's
take
part of the immersion.
Time.
It's like let's go on.
And that scene is important because it's like she's having a panic attack, and then it shows like the panic attack is the exact same whether it's in the apartment or it's in the airport. Like she and regardless of like her going on the trip, like she would have been having panic attacks regardless. This would have been her existence. So it's like it like, you know, just shows that this is a part of her life, and that it's more about her transitioning from panic attack to panic attack rather than actually experiencing her journey. And when she gets to Sweden and they drive, she gets that moment to like kind of sit in her own head a little bit, and then
yeah, because the camera's basically always on her.
Yeah, and then they do drugs and she fucking freaks the fuck out. But before that,
again, at this point, when they get to the festival and they're introduced to everybody, basically just every scene that was already there gets extended. We see the path they take to the next area where everyone's meeting after they've taken the drugs already. And we get a longer feast. The build-up to the rituals are all longer. I like that there's a scene where the one woman at the beginning acknowledges them, and she's like, "Oh, our guests are here. They don't understand us."
Yep.
And I don't know. I think all that just builds the tension and immersion really well.
So yeah, I liked the little introduction and whatnot. We get this. I'm gonna be saying this a lot, but it's like we just get a little bit more of, you know, life in the community, and kind of like how they kind of just jump into their cultures, but then are, you know, like aware of things. I think we get.
That's what I meant by we see more positive stuff.
Yeah,
like, it's just there. It's almost normal.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, it seems like they haven't done anything to essentially make the decisions of who they're going to execute in the end, because it seems like that's kind of what they're deciding is, like, you know, which one of the people who brought people are they going to sacrifice, which ones are, you know, which one could possibly be the May Queen, you know, like they're all competing and doing and all this stuff, and they're kind of giving them opportunities to break tradition in order to gain the spot of the sacrifice. You know, like the one kid pisses on the ash tree and they decide to kill him because of that. It's like there could be there's a level at the beginning where, like, it shows a more normal, like, human side where they aren't maybe not considering killing all of them at this point.
Yeah.
And it's like it's nice to have that.
So the next scene is we get an early introduction to Maya. She is the redheaded girl, and I like how they thread her much early on. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's more stuff with the additions that just kind of gets weaved into the foreshadowing. I mean, Ari Aster always does. I guess I can say always does. I was like, oh, there's only one movie, but we did watch all the shorts. Always does weave in quite a bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
So it's, like, even clearer.
Yeah, because I think in the theatrical cut, she really doesn't she doesn't really have an introduction. It kind of just, she shows up and then she's
in the background of a lot of shots where she'll just be there and it'll pull to her and she'll be, like, standing there or doing something.
But it's in the second half of the film, I'm pretty sure.
They have the scene where she kicks him, where she's, like, in the snake. And
that's new.
Him.
I'm pretty sure that's new.
That was in the theatrical version. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was there.
Well, if you two think so, yeah.
But
there's not as much, like, heavy foreshadowing than, you know.
And yeah, I think that this is a perfect segue into one of the things I wanted to talk about was this movie, compared directly to Hereditary, is way more, at least to me. You I think you may disagree, because you've seen a lot more movies that are similar to Hereditary than me, but I felt that this movie is way more straightforward with the foreshadowing, with the plot and everything. Like, literally the first 10 seconds, 15 seconds of the movie is a giant mural that explains, like, what happens in it.
I think it depends, like you said, because Hereditary, for me, the only surprise was that it turns out there are no, like, genetic mental illness. It's a curse. That was the only aspect of the film. Like, would you say so too, Person A? That was a big surprise. Oh, and that Millie dies so early. I guess I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
But basically what Peter's saying is because he hasn't seen a lot of those old school horror movies, he didn't pick up on the tropes, but we kind of, like, the moment we saw the one woman, we were like, oh, she's in on it. Like,
I didn't pick up on any of that.
It's a Rosemary's Baby sort of situation.
Exactly. Yeah. So in that sense, I think Midsommar does a better job of subtly presenting.
Except it's a Wicker Man situation.
It is, but there's more to it that's unique and original, because the Wicker Man, it's just everyone's hiding a secret from him. But this one, it's like there's a whole grooming ceremony going on, and it is a...
not everybody dies.
The paintings and stuff tell the entire story.
Yeah, like, you just got to pay attention.
There are two scenes, like the very beginning and whatnot, where you see the whole story laid out in front of you, and then the next one is when they're like, oh, it's just a little love story, and it pans through and it shows the whole love potion thing and all of that. It's like...
pubic hair pie,
yeah, it's like that whole thing is like completely
tea.
up front, and yeah, the only like real surprise that I had in Midsommar was that just kind of our main character's Danny's like emotional arc of kind of her accepting.
They break her down.
Well, they do, but they build her up. Like Hereditary for me is just a full on negative. Like if you think satanic cult summoning a king of hell,
I
is
always
like
forget how dark the end of Hereditary is.
Yeah, it's like it's so like nobody fucking wins except the cult. Like it's all about them destroying this fucking family, and Midsommar's not. Midsommar's about a girl losing her family and finding another family. Like
in the cult.
that like a lot of people talk about the scene where she's crying and the girl's like screaming at like with her as such like a weird thing, but it was like. But it was like, it was such an important scene for her specifically, because every time she'd had a panic attack before.
Nobody
every
cared.
single
She was
time,
alone.
and she ran away. She was alone, and this was the first time that an entire community was there. And what did Mark tell her? He's like, did you feel held by Christian? And
No,
what were they?
Pele.
They were all fucking holding her, dude. It's like...
He did plant that seed?
It was fucking perfect. And
what do you think about that?
Well, yeah, that whole bit there and all the other stuff isn't even something that's, like, unique to cults or anything, even though it is, like, a form of love bombing. Because, like, a lot of other cultures or grieving and stuff like that is, like, communal.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that you can clearly see that has to do with, like, the connection and the power.
That's a great point. I've
and
never
it's
realized.
just, like, woven into also, like, the manipulation that comes with that, because she was the most vulnerable person of that group and got taken in, but then also it's like this weird in between. They're like offering her a family, but it's like the Manson family.
and that kind of segues into one of the, I don't know if we're there yet, but
so the next thing is the added Christian and Maya scene. There's a scene where he walks up to her, and then the mom comes between them and introduces her and is like, did you know that you could have sex with her at 15? And he's like, that's nice. And so it's again, setting up.
Just giving a little bit more depth to this huge plot point that's coming up, like huge.
So next is the one ceremony they have at night. Personally, you said this was your favorite edition, and
yeah, because this comes like fairly quickly after the whole thing with the 72-year-olds ending their life cycle by throwing themselves off the cliff, and everybody's reaction to that being like, what the fuck? And everybody sitting around and nobody doing anything. And it is contrasted by this other ritual where it looks like they're about to sacrifice a small child by throwing them into the river with a huge rock. And then like the whole ritual is everybody saying, no, you've done enough. And it's like this psychological like manipulation on the part of the cult to be like, see, we're not as bad as you thought we were. We have some morals. It's just a ritual. It's a cultural thing. It's like really fucked up. And that's when she realizes, because she's a psychology student, oh no, we need to get the fuck out of here. And she tells Christian that. He's like, no, it's just cultural, babe. It's fine. Like, we need to stay here because he's only thinking about himself and his thesis.
Do my thesis, babe.
Yeah. And she's like, no, I'm telling you, this is some fucked up shit right here. It's like, I almost wonder, like, if they didn't have any outsiders there, if they would even do that part of the ritual. Because that part of the ritual seems solely
check it
for
out.
the outsiders.
Throughout the whole movie, they're like mimicking the emotions, like you said, when Danny was crying, or like when they light the building on fire, they're all like, oh my god.
Yeah.
When the old man doesn't die, they're all screaming. And it's not until Danny says no, stop, that everyone else goes, no, stop, no, stop, no, stop. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, and it's almost possible they would have killed the kid. Maybe not.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it was a total like mind fuck thing.
Yeah, I think it's kind of open. Like, it's like,
yeah. To me, it was open ended. Like, I wasn't sure because like she comes up and says no, and then another person does pretty quick afterwards, but there's
I'm
a
Spartacus.
hesitation.
I'm Spartacus. I'm Spartacus.
You know, like, and it could be that they decided to do that because someone spoke up. But what if no? But like, you know, it's like, did they expect her to speak up and they planned to defend her, or is it kind of the thing of someone there is just like, oh yeah, he's brave enough now. To you know, it's like there's.
So don't wait till he's in the water. Okay, go fish him out.
Yeah,
he's
and it's like, and he
now.
wasn't tied to the rock. It's like the like garb he was wearing had weights and chains and stuff on it, but like the rock was just like he could easily just push that to the side. Unless it's like really shallow.
And then
water.
they put that out.
It could have been really shallow water.
I've like noticed it before, but I didn't really. I like noticed it the first time we did the director's cut, but it's worth pointing out because you don't realize it if you're watching the theatrical cut. The outfit that Connie is wearing is the same outfit that the little kid is in during this sacrifice scene.
Huh.
It's that same little tree outfit, the little sacrificial tree
you're
outfit.
Right.
That's what they put Connie in.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder about her death. Did they just like redo the ritual for real?
Yeah, they're like, all right, they're sleeping. Let's go do it.
Let's go do it now. Let's go actually sacrifice somebody, an unwilling sacrifice.
But yeah, this scene was actually what I was hoping to segue into before, where you were talking about the manipulation of Christian and kind of how he's trying to control the situation. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, at this whole point, it's like she's going to school for she corrects somebody during its like psychology or something.
Yeah,
something along
she's
those
psychologist.
lines. She's
Peter.
gonna be psychologist.
Psychologist.
But yeah, it's like we are presented with like she's smart and she is completely falling for like all of the mental manipulation stuff that she's supposed to teach people not to fall in for, and we get a scene where that is completely...
I mean, she might be going into clinical study psychology.
Well, no, she straight up in that scene
kidding.
is like, you know, you've been pulling back and getting distant, and I've been in denial about that.
Yeah.
And she confronts her right there, and he's like, oh, no, babe, like, oh, we're gonna have
Don't
a great
pull your
time,
psychology
babe. Like,
shit on me.
like, don't analyze me, babe.
And then he's like,
don't
don't bring
use
me
your
flowers. Don't bring me flowers.
What?
What's that? When you bring me flowers, then I feel obligated to, like, remember your birthday and shit. I feel obligated to be a decent fucking human
No,
being.
seriously, Christian's such a piece of shit. Like, I hate him. Dude.
If you were
He's
currently
like...
dating a person like Christian, you need to paralyze them.
and put him in a bear
Put him in
suit.
a bear suit
Put him in a
and
bear
light him
suit.
on fire.
You can't speak.
Didn't expect that to go that direction.
Or just dump
you got an
them.
abusive boyfriend, burn him in a bear suit.
So the next scene is we see Danny, instead of randomly cutting to Danny helping them out in the kitchen, we see Danny walk by and them go, hey, come in. And then we see the pube pie get placed on the tray.
Placed on a separate special tray so they know. So there's no way it could accidentally end up to the wrong person.
Yep.
And so...
I was just going to say, you bring up an interesting point too, because I'm thinking about this, like, after her entire family dies, like, the only person that Danny appears to have is Christian, who uses that to his advantage to be super manipulative and abusive, which made her,
gaslighty and fucking just the worst types of fucking abusive that you can be to somebody who's dealing with PTSD
with that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
already you like see that she doubts her like perceptions of reality in the beginning, like with her anxiety about her sister and everything, and then he makes her doubt herself more, and then she was right,
and she's
like,
so rational about it too. She is so fucking rational about it. It is crazy how rational she is about it. Like, she's straight up just like, no, I know that I was freaking out and I was paranoid and I know that I get that way, but like, it's okay and I'm calming down now and I just want to understand. And it's just like, she is coming from like every reasonable perspective.
And he's like,
and
I was
just
gonna ask you,
exploits
babe.
that.
Oh, yeah.
And that just like makes her like, and I feel like the Swedish guy, not Mark, knows this and is aware of it and has been watching it, and so she's like the perfect person to bring into the cult, because not only has she lost her entire family, but she's been like conditioned to like this abuse, and so it's gonna be like any sort of love and affection like is gonna be welcoming,
completely reaffirming. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what she's been needing and not getting.
Well, and they set up the scenario for her to join too by having him perform a ritual. They get an oracle out of it, and
a May Queen
and a sacrifice. Like they get everything that they need in one.
Three birds, one
Plus,
stone.
they brought along some extra friends, so some more sacrifices.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is one, I may be wrong about this, but before the dance of the May Queen, the circular dance, the one woman explains the rules. Was that in the theatrical cut? I don't remember her explaining the rules because she was like, "You will spin and spin until whoever has the most stamina wins."
Yeah, that was in the theater.
That was in it.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I put a maybe.
The whole story being in there. I just remember her saying that.
Maybe just part of it was in there.
I think the backstory was probably extended of like.
The backstory was extended.
That makes sense. That's why I was questioning it. It was both.
And the sisters dancing. I think it was just like they'll dance until they collapse, and then the person will who's still standing will be rewarded.
Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's exactly it, and that's why I questioned.
Because I remember the name of the god, like Horga or whatever they talk about. They mentioned it a lot more in this version. Yep. I don't even remember that being mentioned in the theatrical version at all. It might have been, but it's been a while since I watched it. But maybe once. I remember 3 times in this where it's brought up specifically. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that just brings up another point too. With that is the like we've kind of already touched on it, but they introduced drugs pretty early on, which is another cult tactic.
Yep, drug them.
I mean, they're even pretty upfront about it. It opens you up
there
to
are
the
a lot
influence.
of Manson. There are a lot of Manson hippie cult connections in there.
Cults in general.
It lowers your defenses, and that's an interesting one too. Because when the old man claps at his face, he's like, "Why would you do that?"
I love that.
It's like total cowardly lion. Like, I wasn't gonna buy it.
So we've been talking about the mostly the plot points and stuff of the director's cut, but I just want to side tangent and say, man, the May Queen sequence is so masterfully shot. The way it's just constantly circling around, and it is really amazing.
And they're able to keep them like in the
shots
same
from
spots
above
and frames, so that like the bokeh in the background is like blurry, but
it's
they're
so
in perfect
tasty,
focus, even though it's rotating and they're moving and the camera's moving. It's like it is fucking impressive. Fuck.
I'm pretty sure they used a Steadicam because there are still people behind them circling, and so they couldn't use but it was good shit.
So good. So many tasty shots in this movie, man. I mean, I feel like every Ari Aster shot is like at least a 5 on the tasty scale. It just goes up from there.
How do you rate all the shots in Tino's dick farts then?
Those are tasty shots. Like, even when he's like, it's like that. It's framed well.
So Christian's coercion is a bit longer when he gets called into the house.
Oh yeah.
They kind of bring up it's not about marriage. We don't want you to join the family.
We just need your seed. I'm surprised he wasn't like, so can I just like jerk off into a cup or something? Because I'm obviously
there's a big process they go under. They've got to pull the May Queen aside and do a whole thing, and then
tracking him down in general.
They drug him with 3 different things. It's like he gets fucked up.
Yeah.
And then the final big thing is there's a little speech that the guy gives when they're about to burn down the building. A guy comes in and gives a speech, and I'm almost positive that wasn't.
I know there was a little bit because I remember the first time watching it being like, they're telling him he's a evil motherfucker.
So maybe I'm wrong.
See, I remember that, but I don't remember.
I'm gonna answer it right now.
They had a little thing that was extended there, and then because the only thing I remember was him talking to him in the bear suit, and then they go over and they give them the and it's have no fear or whatever, and that's it. There wasn't any background dialogue that's happening while those were happening, but I could be wrong about that.
I'm looking it up now. So yeah, I think those are all the major things. So what last minute stuff you want to say about Midsommar?
I mean, I really do love this film. I think that in terms of like talking about Ari Aster's skill with a camera and with framing and stuff, I do think that as a whole percentage.
Nope, the
like,
speech was in the theatrical cut. I'm wrong. The whole speech was there.
The whole speech.
So
I knew part of it was.
Yeah, sorry.
So if we take the full length of Hereditary and take all of the shots in that, I think that there's a higher percentage of just overall the shots are better in Hereditary for me.
Really? I think Midsommar is way better.
I think that the cinematography just goes up to another level, but there are some shots that are like, that aren't exactly as like tasty on the tasty meter, where like when I'm watching Hereditary, it's like it's all like 100% like okay, like these are fucking like
I'm the opposite, man. I think some of the color grading in Hereditary isn't gray, and the black levels aren't too good sometimes. Like I think it's really good, but I think the digital camera heavily benefits Midsommar. I think Hereditary would look better if it was shot on film. I think the dark digital photography is good, but it's not outstanding for me. The framing and stuff is.
See,
but
that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about composition.
The composition and framing is outstanding, but I think Hereditary could be better. Hereditary is amazing, but it could be better. Midsommar, I'm like, you fucking nailed it. I couldn't see it being any better, honestly.
Yeah, to me, it's like Hereditary's got like a bunch of like 8, 9, and like 10 level shots, and the lowest one for me is like a 6, honestly. But there are a couple in Midsommar that are like a 5. But it has way more 10s.
What are these 5 shots you're talking about?
There were like a couple where like she goes up to the bed and it kind of like it pans in and it's just like her standing and like kind of a non-symmetrical kind of thing. It's like
that's
the framing,
okay.
That's why it's a 5, man. It's completely okay. It's just. And like I don't see those when I see Hereditary, but that's not saying that the shots are bad.
Okay,
they're just lower on the tasty scale. But Midsommar has way more shots that are way better than Hereditary. Like I said, Hereditary's like at an 8 and a 9 a lot, and Hereditary's got a fuck ton of 10s, but it also got a couple 5s in there.
Yeah,
I was like, I noticed them.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, mine. Yeah, mine is basically I have no notes for Midsommar, and I have teeny tiny notes for Hereditary, so I gotta give it to Midsommar. I don't know, I think it's so much more unique. Like there are plenty of well framed, darkly lit digital horror movies out there. They are, and Hereditary's the best probably, but there are a lot of them. And Midsommar, it is just like this gorgeously framed, bright, blinding light.
But the intro's
movie
super dark too, snow and everything. It's got the perfect contrast of just having a tiny little bit, like little 20 minutes of having it be dark, and then it's just it doesn't just cut to like Midsommar. It's like we get a shot of like it's summer, and then it kind of pans back into the room, and it's a little darker, and we get a little bit of darker shots, and then
it sets the mood really well.
It's like it's slowly leading you in, and then once they get to Sweden, it's like boom, it's sunny as fuck, and the sun doesn't go down.
But because if they started bright, then it would just feel happy right off the bat. Exactly. But you start dark and let them know this is a dark story.
A sinister force.
And so much bad shit happens in the beginning, man. It's like abusive relationships, dead family, fucking manipulative sister that's fucking could have potentially murdered your whole family and puts you through that mental gymnastic all the fucking time. It's like it's not a great scenario. And like the boyfriend's friends, I mean, they all kind of suck. Like
they all do suck.
Yeah. I mean,
one of them's literally getting ready to auction them off as sacrifices.
I was gonna say he's the only one that could be argued as like somewhat decent. But yeah, you have that whole thing. He's a cult member. He's gonna murder everybody. He's cool with that. It's like that.
Oh yeah, he's not cool, man. He went to America to kidnap some kids.
Yeah, he's playing on their douchebaggery. Like, oh yeah, don't forget about all the Swedish.
But surface level,
I'd hang out with him.
Yeah,
exactly, dude. It's like, but you have to take
And
in...
he's even kind of being honest when he's like, don't forget about all the Swedish milkmaids you get to impregnate. Because he's the one that got the genetic sample somehow from Christian to figure out if you... From all of them. I'm guaranteeing all of his friends.
He had mentioned that he sent them a picture,
a
in
picture.
one of the deleted scenes.
They
It
said,
was like,
they said saliva.
we must test this.
Test this, please. Send us...
I mean,
send
they,
us
So-
they have a
secret
they
lab.
have a film camera. They took pictures.
Yeah,
of it.
they-
They might as well have like a lab or some shit.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
I just appreciate in this one all the Kubrickisms.
Oh yeah, Ari Aster
So
loves
many.
Kubrick.
Kubrick loves Ari Aster.
It's from
From his
beyond.
grave.
From
Yeah.
beyond. the
All right,
grave.
actually, you know what? I want to get a bit more into this Hereditary v Midsommar. What's the better film for you?
It depends on what you're like ranking it on.
For you, just like for you, what do you think? Like,
After watching them so close together, I'd probably have to go with Midsommar.
Fuck you.
I love like all the miniatures and the darkness of Hereditary and all of that, but like it's probably because I've seen so many of those like
No, we're gonna start a movie fight and you side with
Rosemary's
Dakota.
Baby
Bull
sort of.
motherfucking shit.
But Toni Collette is like
oh yeah, in terms of
She's,
performance, like
to be-
Florence versus Tony.
Toni.
Yeah.
Although Florence did a great job, but
Amazing.
yes, you can't
Amazing.
friggin' beat Toni Collette in that.
I mean, I had goosebumps the first time. Like the whole movie watching Hereditary the first time.
Yeah.
I just
And
Toni
the
Collette's
miniatures are
performance
so
just
fucking good.
like goosebumps, man. I would like when I think you remember I was in there like after the scene where she's at the like basic like the AA meeting or whatever, like the kind of helpful meeting. Like
Great
she
story.
finishes that like that whole emotional spree, and I just like looked at you guys and
You
I
were
was
like, "That's the greatest
I was
acting
like,
ever."
that was fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Like, Oscar worthy. Like,
Yeah.
holy fucking shit. She was fucking snubbed. A24, what the fuck?
Campaign more.
Yeah.
But
in
what
terms
pushes
of,
it
like,
for you?
The content and composition. It just Midsommar has a broader scope.
I think that the set for Hereditary is just cooler in general. It's like it's like we've got a field with like a couple barns and stuff, and like they do some stuff in the city for Midsommar, but and it is unique and whatnot. But
It's like
the house in Hereditary is so like
the
fucking
color.
nice.
The
Oh, yeah.
color in Midsommar is like.
I do like the color palette. You mentioned it is gray, and you're right, but like I think it's tasty, man. I think it just.
Oh, no,
it
I
fits
don't mean that in a
bleak,
bad-
And
like-
the
I don't think it looks
costuming,
bad. I'm just saying,
costuming in
like-
Hereditary is kind of like secondary.
Many things
That's
could
true.
be better, even
Whereas
if.
costuming in Midsommar.
Yeah,
is
Midsommar takes it for
extremely
costume and makeup
important.
completely. Like
Like,
the
it's-
gore design in Midsommar is like they only have like one or two like really
the
good
dude's
body
head.
shots.
Oh
in
well,
Hereditary.
the way they shoot Millie's head in Hereditary is very in the style of Midsommar. It's very
Also,
bright
they
and
put
that
out
like
an
going out
entire
and stuff.
freaking like.
But we only get that like with Midsommar. We've got like there's fuck tons of gore. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's a
So
guy's
Ari
lungs
Aster's
ripped
like
out of his body.
smashing
Like,
heads in and burning shit down.
yeah, faces getting smashed, legs fucking smashed, legs completely cut off, growing in the fucking dirt, like people's lungs ripped out of their body, but they're still breathing. Like shit is hardcore in
Yeah,
Midsommar,
exactly.
like way
I-
more than Hereditary. But
It
Hereditary
is.
has that psychological kind of aspect of like.
See, but I see the psychological aspect of Midsommar, like all the little
No, yeah, and
Manipulation.
Well,
Relations.
I think they both have psychological aspects, but
And cults.
Midsommar's is you could almost miss them. But Hereditary, I mean, it's partially in the fucking title, Hereditary.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they more directly address these things head on and see meetings and like have discussions about grief and whether guilt and whether or not it's okay to fully accept that someone in your family's died and stuff and.
And person I mentioned, the miniatures in Hereditary 2
The-
are fucking
that's
fantastic.
one of the most creative aspects of the movie that every wide shot, well, not everyone, there are a couple that aren't whenever they need people and stuff, but yeah. Sorry we didn't review Hereditary. We finished watching it and we were like, fuck, it's just, what do we say? What can we say? I guess we do have stuff to say, but at the time we were just blown away. So I guess that's a different impact. Like after Hereditary, we literally were just like, fuck, that was a movie. Well, let's just leave that experience be and not record ourselves talking about it. And Midsommar, it's, just another review. So there's a unique aspect on that. I don't know. Hereditary definitely did hit us the other night.
I mean, it's like, yeah, dude, it's just, I don't know, man. It's yep.
Ari Aster is going to be like Tarantino, where it's going to be the more films he makes, it's going to be impossible.
Is there any word on his next film?
He's apparently making a 4-hour horror movie next.
Yes.
About a cult in the family?
I'm not sure what it's about. I don't know if that was announced, but I know he said it's going to be very long. Yeah. But
it's gonna be the full story of Tino's dick farts. He really wanted to tell, but didn't have the budget to initially tell.
Maybe.
Sounds like something the Johnsons one would be one
that
to
would
like.
Be
I
one.
would really like to see one delved in there a little bit deeper, more characters, bigger budget. But I mean, for what it is, I think it's great.
we didn't mention it in the review, but I thought the acting of not the dad but the son, he wasn't a great actor for me.
Yeah, I agree.
And with just a bigger budget and just tighter production, that would be really epic to see.
But I also think that Ari kind of put what he wanted into that. I feel like he's gonna.
I don't think we'll ever get it.
Yeah, I think he's gonna come. He's gonna be like Tarantino, where he's gonna want to make his own individual stuff and not recreate things, or if he's gonna do something like that, odds are he'll put samples of it into a new script.
I think he would have done it already, because it has happened plenty of times where a director, Boogie Nights, Sling Blade, there are a lot of movies that started as short films.
Frankenweenie.
Frankenweenie.
Fuck, there's a lot of movies that started as sketches, SNL sketches and shit, Coneheads.
I mean, that's a whole genre.
Yeah, and some of them should have stayed.
But the point is, it's a possibility, but normally filmmakers do it pretty early on in their career, and I think at this point, maybe not. I don't know.
But yeah.
But we're excited.
So, have you guys gotten your shipping notification for the director's cut of Midsommar?
This is the special A24 Fancy Pants edition of the director's cut. It's in America. This is the only version available. In everywhere else, it's a standard cheap version. But you can. This is sold out. But you can get it on iTunes, a digital version, if you want to check out the director's cut.
I definitely recommend it. I think it's great.
I think the only time I'm gonna watch the theatrical cut is if I'm with somebody new.
Yeah.
Like if someone's like, "Oh, I've never seen Midsommar and want to watch it," I'll show them the theatrical cut. Because if you thought the theatrical cut was too long, this isn't gonna convince you.
That's for sure. Yeah, because this one straight it accentuates that dread, that lengthy dread. It adds.
If you're not into slow burns.
Yeah, and even the burn itself being slow. That's what this movie does really well. Is it's a slow burn to the end, and then with Hereditary, it's fucking fast paced. It's boom, she's flying across the room. She's fucking bashing her head against going super fast. And in this one, it's the climax is so slow and just methodical and it just accentuates that just slow burn. And, but you guys go see this one.
Martin Scorsese approved cinema right here.
Yeah, there's a quote from Martin Scorsese in this, and it's
that doesn't matter to some of you.
Shots fired.
I will always fire shots at Marvel. I'm sorry. Don't at me. Or at me. I guess you can at me now.
At person A.
Well, Twitter. Actually, it's a me, a person A.
There you go. You can now at person A.
All right. This is peace.
Peace out, guys.